Welcome to this explainer. We're diving straight into the mid-8th century today to uncover one of the most intense, high-stakes military standoffs in history. I want you to imagine an entire subcontinent transformed into a giant, three-way chessboard of blood and iron. And sitting right in the center of it all, a 12-year-old king boy. We're going to rely strictly on the historical sources to trace exactly how this kid navigated a frankly impossible geopolitical nightmare.
So how exactly does a 12-year-old survive a massive two-front war? It's a great question, and it really sets the stage for what is basically the ultimate underdog survival story in ancient South Indian history. This wasn't just some minor border skirmish. It was a desperate, nail-biting struggle for sheer existence. How does a newly crowned child outmaneuver seasoned military veterans who are literally trying to erase his empire from the map? Well, to figure that out, we need to understand the board.
Section 1. The Three-Way War. Let's map out the players here. Right smack in the middle, you've got the Pallava Empire, ruling from their grand capital of Kanchipuram under the emblem of the bull. To their north, you've got the Chalukyas of Badami, flying the boar banner, and they are nursing some very old grudges, looking for ultimate revenge. And down to the south, the highly aggressive Pandyas of Madurai, under the twin fish banner, absolutely hell-bent on dominating the entire southern region. The Pallavas were literally caught in a vice grip between two absolute military juggernauts.
And the primary target in all of this? Nandivarman II. He was only 12 years old. But here's the real kicker. He wasn't actually born into the direct royal bloodline. He was elected to the throne by the people and the ministers to try and save a destabilizing empire. But both the rival Chalukyas and Pandyas looked at this newly elected boy king and just saw an illegitimate outsider. To them, this was the perfect excuse. They decided to launch simultaneous invasions and just crush Kanchipuram forever.
Section 2. The Chalukyan Storm.
Now, this was not a slow buildup. This was an absolute blitz. The Chalukyan monarch Vikramaditya II launches this lightning-fast invasion straight into the Pallava heartland. Young Nandivarman is still just trying to figure out how to be king, right? Facing this massive veteran army, he gets completely outmaneuvered on the battlefield. He makes the incredibly tough but necessary tactical choice to retreat, but unfortunately that meant Kanchipuram, his great capital, was left completely defenseless and wide open for occupation.
Now, usually in ancient warfare, when a capital falls, you expect total devastation. You expect fire, pillaging, wholesale destruction of an entire culture. But reality completely flipped the script here. The source material tells us that Vikramaditya actually walked into Kanchipuram and was just utterly awestruck by the sheer beauty of the Kailasanathar Temple. Instead of burning the city to the ground, he spared it out of pure reverence. He actually gave back looted temple treasures, literally carved an inscription on a pillar to commemorate his own restraint, and then recruited the master Pallava architects to go build a temple back in his own capital. It's just this incredible, rare moment of art triumphing over war.
Section 3. The Siege of Nandipuram.
Okay, we really have to define what the Pandyas were after here, because it's a completely different story. The Pandyan king, Nandivarman Rajasimha I, wasn't looking to admire architecture or grab a bit of treasure. He wanted absolute dominance, a complete Pandyan hegemony. His goal was to entirely replace Pallava authority over the whole region of Tamilakam. He wanted the Pallavas wiped off the map, permanently.
So we enter this terrifying ticking clock scenario for our young king. Just look at how systematically the enemy advanced. Phase 1, the Pandyas sweep north. Phase 2, they score these crushing victories in the Kaveri Delta, steadily beating back the young king's forces. By Phase 3, Nandivarman is pushed back and cornered inside the stone fort of Nandipuram. And then, Phase 4 hits, complete encirclement. The Pandyas lay down heavy siege lines, completely blockading all food and water.
Just let the gravity of that situation sink in for a second. The young king, who had been elected by his people to save the empire, was now trapped and literally weeks away from total annihilation. Supplies are rapidly dwindling, all communication lines are totally dead, the boy king is looking over the walls, staring down the barrel of a final, fatal assault. It really seemed like the end of the Pallava dynasty was pretty much written in stone.
Section 4. Udayachandra breaks the lines.
But, as the sources tell us, when all hope seemed completely lost, help arrived from the northern frontiers. Word of the king's desperate entrapment had somehow managed to slip through the blockade, finally reaching his most brilliant military commander, General Udayachandra. Knowing his king was just weeks away from either starvation or slaughter, the general didn't hesitate. He immediately rallied an elite, battle-hardened force of cavalry and veteran infantry.
And honestly, this is exactly why you need a brilliant team behind you. Udayachandra's tactical execution was just flawless. Step 1. He launches a lightning-fast counter-campaign, rushing south. Step 2. He hits the Pandyan siege lines from behind in this massive, surprise pincer movement. Step 3. He smashes through the blockade in a series of relentless, bloody engagements, most famously the historic Battle of Madurai. And finally, Step 4. He executes the opposing rebel commanders and lifts the siege. He systematically dismantled that trap, executing a perfect tactical rescue that pulled his young king right out of the jaws of defeat.
Section 5. Survival and New Threats.
I mean, this is the absolute definition of Pallava resilience. Against truly overwhelming odds, facing down two rival empires striking at the exact same time, surviving a grueling, starved-out siege, and navigating internal dissent, Nandivarman II and his loyal generals held the line. The siege of Nandipuram proved once and for all that this 12-year-old boy was absolutely meant to be on that throne. He was no illegitimate outsider. He was the undisputed ruler who steered his empire through its absolute darkest hour.
But I've got to leave you with this one final provocative thought. Yes, the Pallavas survived, but as they and the Chalukyas spent decades bleeding each other dry in these massive, endless wars, they completely missed what was happening in the background. A terrifying new power was silently rising in the shadows of the Western Deccan, Danti Durga and the mighty Rashtrakuta Empire. The whole board was about to be violently reset. Who will survive this new threat? Well, that's the lingering question that changes South India forever. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.